Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Talking Shit with your boys, the Manic Genius and the Sophisticated
Yo,
Jerk. So today, man, we got a pretty good clip. We got a clip of a guy. He's breaking down like this female's out here teaching other females how to, find a provider male to take
you mean
advantage of.
you mean scheme and manipulate?
Oh yeah, yeah. She trying to use these people. So he calls out, the bullshit and tries to, school men on how not to get taken advantage of. So, we definitely push our 50-50 so men don't fall into these traps, but it's good sometimes to hear other people like picking up on some of this stuff and, telling men like, hey man, make sure, you don't fall into these traps and you make sure that a female invest into you because, you don't want to be out here getting used and shit. So we definitely gonna roll that clip. Anything else before we jump into it?
Nah.
Oh, you ready? You like all right, let me pull
Yeah.
that up. Give me 1 second. Make sure it's up all right.
Spoiled girlies and never gatekeep. So here's how you are going to tell in the beginning stages of dating if a man is in his provider mindset with you or not. Because let's be honest, you really don't want to be wasting your time. Trust me on this, these are tested, proven, and work like a charm every single time. You are going to occasionally start making small requests and see how willingly he is to provide small things for you. I'll give you an example. Let's say you've been dating for a month and he is going to take you for a nice little spa date on a Saturday. He said he's going to pick you up at
Spa
11
day.
a.m. You are going to ask him if he can grab you a coffee and a croissant on his way to pick you up. If he does, green check. If he doesn't, why didn't he? What's the lame excuse this time? Like, it's a no. Next thing you're going to do is you are going to casually mention something that you want and how this would make you feel to have it. It's important that you don't ask him for anything and that you're not being needy about it. You're just mentioning it. For example, you really want to go to Italy this summer. It would make you feel so happy because you've never been before. That's it. A provider man does not have to be asked or begged for something. He just needs to know that there is a need or want. And trust me, if a man can make it happen and he wants to, he will.
And this video. Hold on, before we jump into my man right here. So far, what's your take on that?
Um, I liked what she said. Because
You like?
not, huh?
I say you like. You
Oh,
guys playing this?
okay. I take that back. I loved what she said. you know, I loved what she said because she's speaking from a perspective of using somebody. And not once did she say, if this is a guy that you've been dating for a while and you start to have real feelings for him, like if you love him or anything like that, like her whole premise is okay, so you hit the milestone of 1 month. You've allowed this guy to be around you in 1 month. Now start, exercising a strategy. But we talked about it on several podcasts and some of our videos before. Like women give guys different deals. Like and 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 I think I'm on the record saying that there's two deals, like the guy that she likes and the guy that she doesn't. But there's actually more nuance to it, and there's every guy gets a different deal. And I think your job as a man, and if you have game, which is really just awareness, is the ability to understand what deal you're getting. It's not, is it the deal that she gave the last guy? Is it a deal and most guys can pick up on um, just with a few questions about, someone's past and experience. You can pick up on like what type of deals she's given to other men. And you can make the assessment of what deal she's given to you. And in this case, this woman is not dealing with a guy that she actually even cares or likes because she's willing to sabotage the relationship off of a Starbucks coffee. She's willing, and that's why I loved it, because it's just like
What she
that
say? A
shows you
croissant and some fucking coffee.
she's willing to throw the entire relationship away over like not getting a croissant and coffee. So like this is clearly a guy that she doesn't respect and doesn't actually want and care for. So I can't think of a woman who would throw away a dude that they actually want for Starbucks and coffee. And this is why it's important. This is why I loved it, because, not every woman is going to recognize your flyness, and every dude is not fly, but there's levels to, everything in life. And it's up to you and to have awareness and game to recognize where you stand with whatever woman you're talking to. And a woman who's putting you on this type of trajectory and path, this is the ultimate red flag. If you can spot that a girl is like trying to, throw subliminals on as far as like what she wants from you, and if you can do this, she really doesn't care about you, because if you fail one of these, what we call them shit tests, um, she's willing to walk from the relationship. So if a woman gives you a shit test, already, like, walk from that shit. So that's why I loved it. I love this clip because, you know, the minute I would have seen a woman, if a woman treated me like this, I would be out. Like, oh, could you stop and get a Starbucks and a croissant? Like, and it's not that you can't get it, because it's not expensive. It's the, like, where it's coming from. And I think, men should do our own shit test. Say no. No. And just see how she reacts to that. Because that can either let you know, like, oh, okay, he's not one of those guys that I can string along and play around. And women don't respect guys that they can string along and play around, let's be honest. So, but I mean, that takes another level of game. And, I won't go into that on this type of clip. But yeah, that's why I loved it. I loved what she said, because, she's letting you know that she's dealing with, like, the bottom of the barrel type dudes.
Yeah, because I'm glad you pointed out the shit test, because, if a dude goes along and picks that stuff up, the goal line is just going to keep on moving.
Facts.
And like you said, she already got this person pegged to a certain degree where it's just like, I already know I could get stuff out of them. Like you said, women are socially calibrated, that they know who's who and what's what, so they already kind of know to a certain degree, but then they got to, like, just to confirm that they got that type of dude, they're going to, like you said, do those shit tests. So, man, I was watching a clip recently where a guy was talking about, the man that is the ultimate provider, is the most desired. And the guy was, like, totally, completely wrong in that clip, because it was just like, if a woman desires your money, she really don't desire you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of guys get it mixed up, because, they always put, like, they want to merge women into, like, masculinity. And, since they pedestalize women, they kind of, think that they're being desired, when actually the woman wants the money. She's like,
Yeah.
in this case, she's coming with a scheme on everything. So like you said, guys that understand their value as a man, just, you like you said, you're going to get that other deal. And that's why, like, of course, we're on record, we're 50-50 dudes. We could come to him and be like, hey, this is what we do, this is what we want, and we still get favorable results. So while, like, guys are confused with that situation, is because, like, hey, when you have that value and you know how to approach somebody and you know how to find somebody that actually likes you, they're going to give you that favorable deal. So I'm glad you pointed all that out with the 2 deals and stuff. But she's transparent. She's like, look, I want this type of guy because I'm trying to come in there, I'm trying to use them. And, the sad thing is, a lot of guys fall for that trap, because, society keeps pushing, like, oh man, you got to pay for everything. You got to do this as the provider. Your masculinity is tied to this. And, let me pull up the definition of
Well, hold on. One thing.
Oh,
Another thing is, this is why we promote men, going to the gym, exercising, mental stimulation, reading, spirituality, working on themselves, and just improving and becoming the best version of yourself. Because when you do all those things, the hard work, the dedication, that, things that take discipline and consistency to elevate yourself, women don't play with you like this. Like,
not at all.
they can recognize that, she would never do this to a super attractive dude who's in shape and who's respectful and, like, who's, interesting. She'd throw all that out she'd throw all of that out the window and be like, wait a minute, this is a great guy and he's interested in me. Let me be on my P's and Q's. Like, let me make everything, seem easy. Like, but women, let's say that same guy is not working out. Maybe he drinks too much. Maybe he's, you know,
Insecure and shit.
insecure, doesn't, and it's not all about working out, like, having the proper hygiene, you know, you just got to be aware of,
Well, you said earlier, man, that fly shit. Respect the fly shit.
yeah, respect the fly shit. And it's so much that goes into that. But yeah, that guy who's not doing that, this is the type of deals you're gonna get. And one more thing before we jump into masculinity, I just wanted to point out about her is, I mean, she's no spring chicken. She's not a woman in her early 20s. She's seasoned. So I think a woman of her age, should be given advice on like how she's sustaining her marriage and, how, you know, what true love is. And it's just like, why would you want to take some advice from somebody who's not living that life and who's kind of, honestly, when you think about a relationship at her age, she's failing. Like, I wouldn't go talk to, if I, I always use basketball analogies, but, you know, if I was trying to be the best basketball player, I wouldn't go to, a PE teacher who, got cut from the varsity basketball team to learn about basketball. If I have access to, maybe an ex college player or ex, overseas player or even a professional, it's like you want to get mentorship results from people that are living a lifestyle that you want and can actually give you wisdom and how they maintain, because it's easy to get things. It's hard to maintain them. There's plenty of women who've been married, and there's plenty of women who've been divorced. So you have to really look at who you're getting this information from. And I can just see from her aesthetic, she's not young. She's an older woman and still giving, and she's still in this dating market. So, I just see that as a failure
Yeah,
altogether.
Shorty was a basic chick with a ton of fucking lip gloss on. Like, I don't know how many like applications of like lip gloss she was gonna put on, but yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead.
Yeah.
So real quick, I just want to pull up the definition of masculinity because I hear
Mhm.
so many dudes that, like I said, they always like merge women into the definition. They tie like all this like crazy stuff to masculinity and they don't know what the hell they talking about. But if you look at the definition, here it is. Qualities are attributes regarded as characteristic of men and boys. And whenever they give the definition, they always give like the example. So handsome, muscled, and driven. He's a prime example of masculinity. And then right below it, they got masculine, which is the adjective version. So it's like having qualities are appearance traditionally associated with men or boys. He is outstandingly handsome and robust, which means strong, very masculine. So
Yeah. I
not
mean,
once in
I
this
just,
definition. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the examples, that are written there. I think somebody was probably talking about me, when they came up with that, but go ahead, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But nah, so like nowhere in this definition do you see pedestalizing a chick, kissing ass, paying for goddamn everything. So next time y'all hear some dude try to like define masculinity as like paying for everything, just cut that video clip because they don't know what they talking about. That's a dude that's like a simp. So like just move on from that video. But I
Trying to
just
change
wanted
the
to pull it up.
definition. Yeah.
Yeah, just somebody trying to change the definition, man.
To
That's
fit their
all this
simp
stuff is.
narrative.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, let me pull that video back up and see what my man got to say. 1 second. My man in a fly ass car. I see the emblem in the back. So he getting some bread. So this ain't no broke dude. And this is actually a successful guy that's telling y'all this. So keep this in mind.
This is a Lamborghini.
Yeah,
and,
my man.
And judging by my man's what, hoodie sweater or hoodie shirt, he's probably living that life. Because one thing about people with money, they don't have to do the whole suit and tie everywhere. They get to a level of leisure to where it's just like, my man don't care. He, you can afford a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And I don't know this guy. Maybe he's renting it, but
nah, he the real deal.
I mean, he looks like he's a real deal. I mean, just the casual look that he got going on, but Yeah, let's hear what he got to say.
All right.
Video should be a reminder of why red pill content like this is so invaluable and so priceless for men, because you have leeches like this out there looking for ignorant and uninformed guys who don't know their value, who will just open their wallets and be like, here, take my money, here,
Oh man.
take my dignity, here, take my self-respect.
Hmm,
That,
facts.
I mean, this is why this content exists, guys. It's to wake you guys up who have not yet
You're trying to stop my man's
awoken
message.
or still plugged into the matrix and still settling for chicks like this. I mean, I don't even know why you would. I mean, that just in 2024, this makes no sense,
Yeah.
right? Especially you guys who have money is was basically what she's looking for, right? She's looking for a guy who can take her to Italy, guy who's gonna stop off by her coffee and croissants, guy who's gonna basically be a slave. She's looking for a slave with a wallet. That's what she's looking for. I mean, this talk about a man eater. You guys remember that song? Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy. Watch
She'll
out,
chew
boy.
you up.
Oh, here she
Here
comes.
she comes.
She's a man eater. Chick's a man.
I'm gonna fast forward to the part because she got another section. But real quick, what's your breakdown on what he's talking about?
My man is spot on. When it comes to how what she's looking for. She's looking for somebody with resources, and to kind of extract those resources and trying to find the biggest sucker, for lack of a better word, and just telling other women or coaching other women on how to like spot this type of a guy. Um, the whole I've never been a fan of the whole like you guys are tapped in the matrix if you don't agree, and like I never, I mean, because honestly, this whole matrix stuff is just really common sense. When you understand human behavior, not much surprises you. There's always going to be surprises in life, but it's not as deep as people in that red pill space, always try to make it seem. There's bad people out here. There's good people out here. There's people who come from a taking standpoint, and there's people who are very giving, just in their heart. And they may not even have a lot of money, but they're just giving people. And people who are taking or takers will take advantage of that. So,
But I do like the fact that men are starting to have their conversation and
absolutely.
challenging stuff. So, that's one component that I even myself, I had to start budging on, some of my stances. And like we're having conversations, on the masculine mindset on Will's channel where, we do know provider males that are very masculine, do it the right way, like they kind of was leading the situation and stuff. So I do like the fact that everybody's opening up and embracing other ideas and stuff. So I'm glad like at least he's coming out here and, giving that viewpoint of like, yo, watch out for this. Like you said, it's just with the plugged in and the only one enlightened. I think men need to get out of the egos and
Yeah.
understand like there's various sources of good information. So instead of us like always labeling everything, it's just like, you know what, go to so and so. They got great information. That's where we need to start shedding some of this stuff. So everybody's not boxing, their information into one segment and stuff. So I agree with you when you're saying that. But let me
Yeah.
start this clip back up.
To me very, very closely, okay? A man is going to test you and your boundaries, especially high value, high quality, wealthy men. If they are seriously interested in a woman, if they see a future with her, they are going to want to make sure that she is the woman she says she is, that she is the woman they think she is. And that is why they are going to test you if you stand firm in your boundaries. And I mean this in a very respectful way. There is a major difference between dusty men that are disrespectful and that are going to cross every single boundary of yours over and over and over again, but it's up to you to then cut them off, because why are you even letting them cross your boundaries like that? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about men that are respectful, that test you to see if you hold your word, if you hold your boundaries firm. So let's say he wants to go on vacation with you in the beginning of dating. This is an example, okay? And you tell him kindly no, because you don't go on vacation with a man that you're not in a relationship with. That's one of your boundaries, okay? He's going to respect that. He's also going to test you. So he might ask you maybe a month later, even though you're still not in a relationship officially, you're still dating, but he's going to ask you again. He's going to see if you stay firm in your boundaries or if you're easily persuaded by sweet little nothings. That is why it is really, really important to know who you are, to know and understand what your worth is, what your standards are, what your boundaries are. And no man, no matter what he's telling you, no matter what he's giving you, can shake you. You know what you are, you know who you are, you know what you are worth, and you stick firm to your boundaries. Because trust me, when you're tested by these men and you, let's say, win the test, you are going to get so much more from them.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know what planet.
Yo, she was doing so good until she added that little tidbit at the end. Like, I was agreeing with her, like, for most of it. I was like, okay, yeah. If she has like hard boundaries, like, 'cause I'm, you know, gender neutral, right? No bias. I think everybody, if they have boundaries, someone who's dating them should respect those boundaries. So if a woman has a boundary that, hey, I don't, travel and go on vacation out of my like comfort zone with a man I'm not in a relationship with, I respect that. I think more women should operate like that, because a lot of times guys will, take a woman from her surrounding just so that, they can I guess fast track um sex. Um, so I think, you know, that's a good boundary to actually have. The only part I disagree with her was at the very end where she's like, then you can get more from them. Like, it's not even coming from like a good, genuine place of like your boundaries. It's just coming from a place of like manipulation and like getting more from them. Like, not like, hey, now you can earn their respect and, be respectful, have that level of mutual respect. It's about getting, it's about taking, it's about extracting. So it's just like, she was doing really good. I agree with her for the most part until that last little tidbit.
Yeah, I knew she was about to go left anyways. Because like you said, it sounds good, but it was just like a gold digger tactic where she was just like pretty much like, oh, act like you have these boundaries and standards, say no up front first, but then you're gonna like receive, and second time around then you go on that trip. So yeah, she definitely was like playing the long game a little bit.
Yeah.
But this just goes you to like we always used to tell dudes like, hey man, be careful for like just leading with the wallet and just jumping into stuff, because it's like, man, a lot of these type of females, they play the long game, so a lot of dudes are just so gullible and naive, and when they think they're just like women are desiring them, but they're desiring the money. It's like, man, they gotta come in like they just have all these great qualities, but as soon as they get over that threshold, like they get married and they start shutting down, like, oh, I ain't gonna do that shit. All that femininity goes at that point. So that's what it's like, man. That's why we always preach, man. This is why it's important to make sure somebody invests with you. So, it's funny because like the conversations now, a lot of dudes been having about 50-50, and I'm just sitting back cracking up because we told them about a year ago. We're like, y'all eventually gonna understand why we do this.
Over
so at first, it's like, oh, you guys, no, you shouldn't do this. And then now guys are starting to think, they're like, that's not a bad strategy to make somebody invest in you, because what we're hearing from a lot of them, like they definitely try to use a motherfucker. So it's just funny how stuff is hard to play out when you hear it from the horse's mouth. But we'll do one more segment of hers. I just wanted to catch this last piece.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, let me pull it back up, because yeah, she kind of get on my nerves. So I don't know how much more I could take.
Please don't give this woman money. Hey, next.
This video is for you if you are one of the girlies that desires to date wealthy men, but you're having trouble meeting them. The first thing you are going to change is to stop hanging out in places that your current self hangs out and in poor places where poor people are. You are not going to meet a wealthy man in those places. Because if you want to date wealthy men and eventually be in a loving relationship with a provider man that takes care of you, that spoils you, that gives you the princess treatment, you need to start acting as if you already were that version of yourself. And that means also hanging out and frequenting places that your future self will be frequenting. Because once you
Yeah, she.
embody and embrace that version of yourself now, as if you are already living that lifestyle now, that is how you will attract it. And you are going to then meet wealthy men by being in those surroundings. You are not going to meet the man of your dreams hanging out in poor people places. You really have to go to the places where the rich and wealthy frequent. You have to put yourself in their surroundings. You have to make yourself presentable in their life. That way they can find you, because trust me, they are not going to find you where you're hanging out now.
Yeah, so this chick is essentially talking.
Go ahead, stop it right there. I'm about burnt out dealing with that. But what is your take on that last segment?
I mean, I was listening to it, and I wish I would have had a whistle and a referee striped jersey so I could like throw a flag on the play, because she said a wealthy, loving relationship. This is the first time she's mentioning the word love or loving, or putting any desire into the situation. And that's just not how it works. You don't get love and desire in the tail end, based off of like resources. That's not how love works. Like, so it's just like, it's disingenuous, and she's conflating, her whole message, which her whole message is like, hey, how to extract resources and find you a wealthy guy who will pretty much be your sponsor. Like, this is how to find a sugar daddy. And not necessarily to say that he's going to be old, but like somebody who's going to like pay for everything and like be at your beck and call. And then she just now is throwing love in it. So it's like she went through step 1 through like 6. And then like, if you're going to step 10, it's like, hey, yeah, step 8 is love. Like, what? No, that should have been like, hey, find out. That should have been like step 2. Like, hey, find out if this person is legitimate, who they say they are. Find out if they're honest, good person, good heart. And then step 2 would be like, find commonalities and like, get to actually have feelings and desire for this person. Like, love starts developing, and then, you start finding the other things. But like, I just feel like most women operate like that. And those are the women who are generally married and in loving relationships. But you can't, I mean, if your love is predicated on, somebody's wallet, then, I would question your definition of love.
Nah, good point, man. And I think she wasn't even talking about like when she mentioned love in a relationship, she was talking about love in her situation
Oh,
and what she was getting. That's what she was implying. She could give a fuck about the guy. So it wasn't no love
okay.
like we got a genuine love for each other. It's like, nah, I love my comfortability, her what they call it, the soft girl era and shit.
Yeah, I love that he pays for
Yeah.
everything. Oh, that's a good point.
Oh yeah, nah, that's what she's defining as love. Because like you said, like,
I
nah, like
misinterpreted
typically a
that.
person that likes you and stuff, they're going to be coming to the situation like them steps you laid out, but also they're going to be like, hey man, this is what I want to do for him. Man, he just makes me happy. I love being around him. They're like talk about the personality. So yeah, she's just referencing like, receiving me type of situation. So man, and this is how a lot of people look at stuff, and you could hear it when they're talking about, we always challenge them, when we be on different podcasts, when they were like, oh, I would just want the provider meal. We're like, break that down. When we start giving a pushback, it's just like, hey, I want to receive stuff. We're like, man, what are you going to sacrifice to do for the relationship? What are you willing to give? It's crickets. Well, I bring happiness. It'd be some generic shit, peace. It's like, hey, I'm gonna have peace in my life regardless. What can you bring me that I can't do for myself? And I'm as a masculine man, I'm not gonna require from the rip. It's just crickets. But like women that typically like do like guys, they're gonna list off like a bunch of stuff. They're gonna be like, hey, I'm willing to come to the situation and do whatever. So yeah, a lot of these females that's coming to this, man, they just bad women, easy to spot. They're not godly women, because godly women are willing to work with their man in any circumstance, any situation. They're gonna come to their like whatever we need to do for the family and stuff type of mindset. But all right, man. Any more parting words or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I like that clips like this exist because,
Yeah.
you know, it's not guys theorizing and bashing women. You know, we get to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Like there are, which makes some of the talking points that we see in like the YouTube red pill space. Like, man, what type of women are you running into? But like, there's a category of women who exist like this, and you know, look for it to take advantage. But I will say her one point was just very good and practical advice. Like, you know, you don't want to hang around areas that you're not interested in and you know trying to be around. So like I wouldn't go to, you know, Buffalo Wild Wings, you know, looking for a fitness trainer. Like you got to go to the gym for that. You know, so that's not game or really aware. I mean, that's just common sense. So it's just like her whole like, oh, you don't be around poor people. You can't go to the same places where you always frequent. Like, duh. Like if you've been going to the same spots and you don't have good results, then you got to change up your locations. But it's funny how she just says that vaguely and then she doesn't even give any examples or recommendations. So it's just
Yeah,
like,
the spot she's going to, or
yeah, it's just like I hope whoever I hope nobody is first off, I hope nobody is paying for this information because she's just giving you common sense stuff. Like,
yeah.
and if you never thought about that before, then you know, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, she didn't give out no location. She didn't give out no like, you know, tricks of the trade or anything like that. She just was very vague and it's just like, of course, you
And
know,
she
if you
also
want to be
didn't give out if she actually has a man or anything. This shit is actually working, you know.
yeah.
What's the failure rate of her program? Because obviously she was by herself a lot in them clips, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, man, we out of here, man. Great clip. Shout out to the 33 Secrets. That's the gentleman in the video that did that. So definitely
Okay.
great content. But all right, y'all. Peace.